Alright, so we are going to make a couple gecko dig box lids. Once we get the camera situated here. Alright. Thanks for the quick thumbs up. So today, like I said, where a lot of us have pets. I know I do. Some of us have reptiles, some of us have just cats and dogs. But what this is going to be is this is a glass container. And this is going to be for a gecko. And they call it a dig box. Basically, a top will go on. There'll be a hole here. And inside will be material that the gecko can dig in. It can go in this container inside of an already enclosure. It can go inside this container to lay eggs, you can put like worms, mealworms or something in there so they can dig for food, or they can use it just as another spot to kind of just hang out in. So I'm using a couple pieces of maple because it did say that they suggested that you use a hardwood, and we will have to seal this afterwards as well, so they can't go directly into the cage. Even though you really want to right away, you can't. So I'm just kind of centering this on this piece and going to trace around this. So that'll be my basic. That's where I'm actually gonna router that out. We are making a gecko dig box. And what a gecko dig box is it's a place inside of the enclosure that the gecko already lives in, that they can hide out, lay eggs, they can search for food in there. It's just another sanctuary for them inside their own already sanctuary or enclosure. So I really have a wider base or wider lid on here, and I'm going to have to router out quite a bit on this one. I've never made this before, so I thought it'd be a cool thing to throw on here. I don't see anybody else making these. And I had never heard of these until my wife had asked me about making one. But it totally makes sense. Another spot for them to scrounge for food. And I'm just measuring a few points of reference for now. How much time for making this? We'll see. I mean, we'll see how this goes. And I'm just kind of making rough guidelines of where I'm going with this. The router will guide the way eventually. What's up?
Just wondered if you were being constructive or just taking up space.
Good, you're on camera right now.
I am all the time. At least I'm not being in front of the camera like Renee out back by the dumpster, the Waldo's dumpster. I told him I don't know how many times, hey, over there on Rubber Industries, that's a camera right there on the corner of the building instead of there.
Jeez.
What you up to?
Making some lids, some gecko big boxes. For my wife's critters.
What kind of box?
It's a big box for a gecko.
Oh!
It's a little box. It's a glass container with a hole in it. A little lid with a hole in it, so they can go in there and dig around with it. And then,
They like to conceal themselves?
yeah, when they're laying eggs or whatever.
Ah! Hey, speaking of eggs, I got good news.
What?
You know where the tree branch almost fell on you at Mom's house?
Yeah.
I got a wood duck nest box on the tree right there.
Oh,
8 eggshells in there yesterday.
cool.
They're like turtle eggs. They're not crunchy like a chicken eggshell.
Sure.
They're leathery like a turtle eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen those, but I opened it up yesterday and there's 8 of them in there.
Really?
And you know, I got cesspool stakes around the tree there because that dirt was added up around the tree trunk.
Yeah.
And that on some varieties of trees back from around the
Yep.
But anyway, there was no dead baby ducks down in there, so they must have all made it clear, or I got that little snowblade from my John Deere garden tractor there, so
They hatched and
maybe done stuff with that mistake, yeah.
nice.
Yeah!
Nice.
Ooh, new shoes?
No, these are, I've had these for a while. Had them for a while.
What's Stacy up to? Huh. Did you get them?
Yeah.
That one?
Oh, I put them in the front. That breaks, drives like a brake.
ready to do a couple tires for him.
Oh.
Some new brakes. I was doing this, walking around a little bit.
Yeah, all that crap makes a difference. Shocks, struts,
Yeah.
stabilizers. How many miles now?
I don't know, 225. I think.
That's not too bad.
This isn't cracked either. This is just a cover.
It's a Chevy, it might go 300.
Yeah, we'll see.
I got 289 on two of mine, so 180 on this one.
Well, I better get back to this one. I'm on the highway.
Oh, you're getting graded?
Probably.
That or are you getting paid for your time?
Right, exactly.
This ain't your break.
Yeah.
Alright,
All right.
yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time to screw up either.
Well, it's good talking to you.
See you in the morning.
Yep. Well, sorry about all that. Guy I work with just stopped by to say hi.
So I've got one of these made up. We'll make a second one here.
So this will sit on top like that.
But we also need to put a hole in here. So righty. I think this is a little too big than what I was looking for. Hope everybody's having a good day today. It was raining out here a little bit this morning. Now the humidity has come out. But I'll take humidity over rain itself, so. Figured to get the main hole drilled first, just because then we know that whole part is completely done with. And maple is super hard wood, so I'm sure my hole saw bit is really loving me right now. And then we have a nice little hole for entry. Hello, Vance. Thanks for stopping in. We're making some gecko Heidi houses. So the gecko can go in the hole, chill out in here. And I'm going to go back through this hole because it's not exactly squared off. Yeah, you can. It said, from what I've seen, it said maple is probably the best to be using for this. Or pardon me, not maple, any hardwood. I just happen to have a couple of pieces of maple laying around, so maple it is. Granted, it's not the easiest to work with, but the grains are nice and tight. So once it gets a sealant on it, you won't get the, and we will have to polyurethane this. So, I think I might take the corners off once I get it routed out. And again, I always take my battery out when I'm changing my router bits. I can't say it enough. I know I said it last time, but I just seen the results of a bad router incident, and it was not pretty. I've got a nice bit like this to run the groove through here. I'm hoping it sits properly. I mean, it doesn't have to be tight, and the weight of the wood will be holding it down. Majority anyway. It's not like it clicks on the bowl or on the container at all. I'm a little worried about the corners not lining up properly, but we'll see what happens here. When I first got the router, I didn't even know what this piece was for. It took a long time before I figured out what it was actually for. Now I love it. But that's what happens. You learn. So I'm centering the router right in the middle of the two lines that I made. There's this little mark on the router, which is my center, and that's going to sit in between these two lines here. I'm just kind of eyeballing it for now. I'm not going deep for my first plunge. I'm just getting a general depth set up. We'll see how this goes. We might be going a different route. So we're making a little hidey house for a gecko. The gecko can go inside here, chill out in here. Thanks for stopping by, Benito. this rounded corner of this bowl is kind of pondering. I don't know what I'm going to do there. I might have to manually chisel that out. Because I don't have a flush trim bit that would. If this lid was perfectly square, let's see how hard that is to chisel out of there. There ain't a whole lot of material there. I think that's going to work just fine. Now we can go a little deeper with the groove. That was just my first pass with the groove, so now we'll go deeper into it. Oh yes, those chisels are my grandfather's chisel set that got handed down to me. maple going against the grain like that is really, it's dense wood. My drill bit really loves it, or my router bit loves it. This is where I really wish I had some dust collection here. I mean, you can always use a shop vac, but it's really hard on it with a router. And I'm just trying to round these corners off because of the rounded edge of the bowl that I got here. I guarantee you there's probably a better way to go about this. Or a more efficient way, but... And if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping in. We're making a box for a gecko that goes inside of their cage. for them to forage in, lay eggs in, chill out. Shed their skin in. Yeah, we're still a little tight on the corners, so. Yeah, we got a couple geckos. Bearded dragon as well. We got frog. We got a few animals, or a few reptilians. What kind of frog? I think it's a Pac-Man frog. The Pac-Man frog, he don't do much. He just comes out and eats and then goes back in its hole. Digs himself back down in the dirt. With the Pac-Man frog though, it's once they get big enough, they'll eat like a baby. Oh yeah, the Pac-Man frog that we've got. Well, the one that we had, the one that we used to have, that one we were feeding it. It got big enough to where we were feeding it the pinky mice that are like the frozen. Well, they're, I don't know if they're frozen, but they're. But you'd have to hand feed the pinky mouse, and it's kind of gross looking. But that thing would just gobble them up. Oh, really? I never heard that before. That makes sense. I mean, they get big enough, and they're just chill. They don't. It's not like you see them in their cage much. They'll bury themselves in the dirt or whatever you have for a cage. See if we got down far enough here. Yeah. So now that lid sits securely on there. Hopefully that hole is big enough for the guy himself. We'll round out the corners on it a little bit, and then we're going to router this hole out. We'll start working on our second one here. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I will definitely set my router a little bit shallower for my second pass. That was the battery dying on me. That's why we have another battery. Yeah, I didn't know the Pac-Mans eat the tarantulas. That's good to know. Yeah. We won't even go there about the pets living better than the humans. One thing I do have to say, though, I mean, you do see people really, you know, it seems like they go overboard with their animals, but like myself, I mean, you know how they feed them and everything. Like, we don't have any children, so that's kind of, the animals are our kids, you know. And I can see that to some point, but definitely see overkill with some people, and that's all opinion too. All right. You know that English bulldog last. See? The royalty. And now that we know we need to go in quite a bit on those corners, how'd you do fishing yesterday, Benito? Sadly, I have not been out fishing yet this season. I did go out to a Mopar car show event yesterday. That was pretty good. Well, that's exciting. The fish are definitely fun to catch. And honestly, even if you don't catch the fish out there, just getting out and fishing, super relaxing. Until you get mad that you're not catching any fish. Alright, let's see how we're sitting. Maybe just a little bit more. Yeah, the kids do grow up pretty fast. And I'm just kind of roughing it out just to, oh, there we go. There's a nice fit. I am going to go over this a little bit. And sand this. Just to even everything out here. Or clean it up a little bit more than anything. I don't want any bacteria getting into any of these cracks. That's the part I hate the most, is sanding. And sanding maple is just not fun. I have say though, the outcome can be well worth it. All right, so we've routed that out. Now it sits, I got a little spot here somewhere. There we go. Now we're tight. Or it's sitting there without a wobble, basically. So I think we're gonna switch our router bit out to a round over. And we'll put a nice ease on those, on the hole and around the edges. Knock the edges down probably a little bit too, or the corners, I mean. And again, these are just for a gecko to go inside and hide out, lay its eggs, enjoy some humidity maybe, or shed its skin. And I've learned to save the package your router bit comes in. It will save you a lot of money when you have to buy a new router bit. Because you dropped it on the ground. I think we've all done that before, where we've dropped the router bit and the carbide just shatters on the floor. And then you cry. Because you know how much you just spent on the router bit. Or you know how much the new router bit is going to cost you. This hole is going to be the hardest part, I think. Because it's going to want to, I know damn well the router is going to want to ride around a little bit on there. I have to get my hole saw back out. There's a little lip in there from when first drilling that hole. And I don't want to sit here and sand it off. And I will tell you right now, that just saved me a lot of time trying to sand this maple. Well, that hole went a lot bit faster than I thought it was gonna, so I'm happy with that. Then we have a nice eased edge hole. We put a nice ease on the edge here. Suppose we can come back around on the bottom edge too. Actually, I am going to leave the bottom edge the way it is. I'll knock the edge down a little bit with some sandpaper. But I don't think I'm going to hit that bottom edge. Just breaking any sharp points down. I have used the router on the side before, but it can get pretty squirrely on you just because you're not completely squared up with everything. But yeah, we took the router out the inside and just like that. Thanks. Now I hope that this hole is big enough for the gecko. I think so. The geckos are not. I mean, this hole is. Well, it's 1.5 inches. I think, pretty sure the gecko can squeeze through 1.5 inch hole. It's not very big. And we'll just repeat the step on this next one, or on this first one. One thing I do find crazy is I own, multiple sanders, and I end up coming down to hand sanding so much stuff when I probably could just use my electronic sanders. The gecko is pretty chill. I mean, the only time I see them really have any issues is if you change the cage out on them. They can go for a little while without eating until they feel comfortable in their new surroundings. You really got to watch them then. Or when you first get it. I know, like with the bearded dragon that I've got, or sorry, that we have. The bearded dragon got a little flustered when we moved him to a different cage. All right. Here we are with our nice little gecko hideouts. I'm gonna clean up shop here a little bit, and I'm gonna stain them, or pardon me, not stain them, but I'm gonna polyurethane them. But before I do that, I better check with my wife and make sure that I made these holes big enough. So on that note, I'm going to call it a night here, everyone. Thanks for joining me. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks again, everyone.